Well, as war in Israel rages on, a number of Australians on the ground are facing a terrifying few weeks ahead, with Hamas warning it's ready to dig in for a long and brutal conflict.
Let's go straight to Australian mother Emily Gian, who is live in Yehud, Israel. Emily, really good to see you again. Thanks for joining us this morning. How are you and the kids doing today?
Look, today's been a real big bundle of emotions. I was prepared to come on here and say, look, you know, things were seemed a little bit relaxed today. And then news came out that soldiers that had gone to check one of the kibbutzim down south, which is where the infiltrations took place, had discovered while they were doing a cleanup of the area over 40 bodies of babies and kids that had been unimaginably slaughtered, some beheaded, and I have no words. Like, that sort of just got to me. And I've said it, I think I said it even here, that I've been trying to sort of hide that part of the situation from the kids, like what had happened with the infiltrations, and focus on what was in front of us, which was the rockets in our area, and not to shield them from everything else. And I started reading it and I just started bawling my eyes out, and they're sort of, "Mummy, why are you crying?" Because every little thing that, they're on such high alert for everything, that any conversation that we're having, "What are you talking about? What's happening? Mummy, why are you crying?" And I just looked at them, and it was overwhelming.
Yeah,
Emily, and that was sort of the reality.
From afar, that kind of thing is difficult to digest. And you being there. How old are your kids?
So 4.5, 8 and 10.
And you've got to be a mum, you've got to be strong, and now you find yourself in a war zone trying to compartmentalise something that can't be.
Yeah. So it's sort of this nightmare that you're just not waking up from. And interesting, I heard an interview with an Israeli woman that had sort of been caught up, but it escaped from down south. And she said, we always knew that an attack was coming from Hamas. We knew that living on the border, there was always threats and there was always things happening. And we always knew that they were coming, and never in our wildest nightmares could we have imagined just how bad it was. And that's the nightmare that's just unfolding. And as more, every single day they're announcing the names and the stories of the people that have been murdered. And it just feels like every person has a story, basically. And that's what's coming out now. And that's just a unfathomable nightmare.
Emily, it's sort of that question, isn't it, about where is the humanity here? Those stories you were talking about before, I read the same reports. I mean, it is just unimaginable. Like, you don't even want to think about what people are seeing, what's been done to these babies, these children, these families. It is utterly horrific. And when you think about the fact these are just human lives, I mean, these are civilians who are caught in the middle of this disgraceful situation, and there you are just trying to survive.
Yeah. And then you hear like a Hamas commander going on Sky News and saying, "We didn't kill any civilians on Saturday." And, I wonder what babies are then.
There's a wider, political ramification story going on, but at the end of the day, you've got to live day to day.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you support your family? How do you be a mum and a woman inside this conflict zone right now?
I think, I started off, trying to not really say anything. And then I realized, you don't have to tell them the truth in a way that, because even us as adults, we're talking here now, we find it unfathomable, but we need to find a way to talk to them about it in a way that's age appropriate. So I have been trying to talk to them a little bit more about what's going on, and, get them to, tell me how they're feeling, and that it's okay to also not know how you feel, and that if they ask me questions, it's okay that I don't know the answer to. And so in that, we're just trying to sort of live our daily life. But obviously I went out today for the first time. I went to the supermarket on my own, but we've basically just been at home. So it's, a lot of playing games and more iPad and TV, and then iPad again, just to sort of pass the time and keep entertained.
We're looking at the shelves, they're bare. We're looking at a prolonged conflict here. How do you approach that finally?
You know, every day's a new day.
I don't know how Emily's so strong. It's just heartbreaking.
Hey, Emily, look,
So incredible.
Our viewers here in Australia they're wearing it, and we're a long way away, and you're right in the thick of it, and we really so much appreciate you being able to articulate what you're going through, and we'd love to talk to you again soon if it's not too much for you.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Strong woman.
Yeah.
Well, the latest from Israel in a moment, but as we go to the break, these are live pictures.